Hello, everyone. This is JD Calderon, and this is Indy Comics Explained. Yet again, I brought another fantastic group of independent comic book creators. So please hit like, hit subscribe, share out the video, let everybody know we're here. And without further ado, I'm going to bring this guy on. He's been a little absent as of late, but he's here.
I'm here. I'm here. You know, I take exception to talented individuals. I'm not one of them. You know what I mean, bro? I'm here. I show up. I exist. You know, I mean,
I'm trying to make you feel good about yourself.
You're taking away from those who are actually working on good stuff right now. You know, come on.
Yeah,
come on.
Well, we try to give everybody the rub every now and again.
We try to give them the rub. So why don't you give them the rub and bring them on out?
All right, now we got a bit. It's funny. We got a bit of a change up because here's our co-host for the night.
Yo,
Mr. Sehn, Vera.
What?
Oh no!
What?
Another Boricua in the house. Ain't that something? We just exceeded our quota.
Let's get down for the night.
What's up, everybody? I'm Sam, the Crazy Man Vera, aka Duty's daddy. Glad to be here.
There you go. Good to see you, Sam. It's been a minute.
Yes, glad to be here.
Yep.
Yeah. You're a little under the weather there, buddy, huh?
Yeah, man.
I'm sorry.
How you doing, Mark? Please introduce
Good evening, gentlemen. How are you guys doing?
We're good.
I'm calling in from a snowy Indiana.
Nice. All right. Well, Mark, please let everybody know who you are.
I'm the publisher, writer, and letterer for Plague Doctor Press Comics. I got 5 books, 2 in the pipeline, 3 published already. And I'm looking forward to a year of production and cons.
All right.
And I'm our fellow absentee New Yorker. What's up, Dan?
That's it. Coming from a non-snowy Florida panhandle with about 100 books, but I'm not going to mention them all. But I do have the Sorority Power Kickstarter going on right now. Dan Sehn, publisher of Argo Comics and our Thunder Zone imprint.
All right, very good. And my partner, my once in a while partner in crime, Mr. C. like Michael Lanning. Please introduce yourself, sir.
I'm C. Michael Lanning. I need no introduction. Thank you.
There you go. Well, I did introduce.
No, I'm an independent artist. I'm currently I've done art for Magi's Grace, which is still on Kickstarter, which I'm going to show right now at the top of the show in case our answers turn some people off. Also, co-host on Art Style Kamikaze on Indie Comics Network, found on YouTube, which will be coming back pretty soon. And who knows, future projects.
There you go. I like the fact that C puts his hat has a smile on it, so he doesn't have to.
That's it.
No, that's the Star Wars Rebels.
No, this is
what is it?
Smiley face.
A smiley face.
Oh shit! I need my glasses.
You might want to put your glasses back on, bro.
You couldn't see Michael Lanning.
Nice.
Nice.
But
Dad, I didn't know you were a dad.
No, only in spirit.
Gotcha. All right, gentlemen. So let's start off with the show questions. So here we go. Do you think Diamond the distributor, will make it out of 2025? And is that a good or bad for indie comics? Right. So let's start off with Mr. Bell. What do you think?
Well, so 5 years ago when I was starting to come back all to this after a lifetime of doing other things, I looked at the Diamond, how to get into Diamond, to see if I would qualify for that, because I had dreams of being a big comic book publisher. And I looked at their entry-level situation and was nowhere close to dealing with what they're dealing with. So I kind of put that all to bed. And I still am a purchaser of Diamond, but the missing of Image and DC and Marvel now has made that book a bit differently, and it used to be the primary place, as far as I could tell, that in the early 2000s and 2010s it was the only place that you could order a lot of anime. There was a lot of manga. There was a lot of manga in the US being ordered through that. And that section has dwindled and dwindled and dwindled of that book. And so I think that they'll be around, but I think they have to change what they're doing. I think some of the things that they've done with the YouTube channel and things like that have started to maybe change it a bit, but I think that they're missing out on certainly my publishing realm, because one of the things still, I checked the entry level stuff just today, and you still need they expect you to have a $2,500 marketing budget for your book. And I don't know about you guys, but that's my book budget. Like, that's the whole budget for my book, so I think that is something that they need to change to make it more interesting. And to get more people reading comics. I think they're missing this whole kind of Kickstarter renaissance of indie comics. The question I have when I saw your question was more rightly so. I think I don't know if we're going to see the big two, DC and Marvel, keep producing their monthly shiny solicitations. I think those must be incredibly expensive for them, and are going to be the first to go when the costs really start to add up for the big two this year.
I mean, yeah, probably. I mean, yeah. All right, let's continue. Then I can talk about that a little bit towards the end. But Dan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I think they're going to remain around. They'll make it through. But how well they'll be doing, what did they lose Boom kind of recently? And they had big distribution problems during the holidays, which that's a major time for them to be, getting people coming into comic shops for gifts and stuff like that, of course. I think that's because they lost their Plattsburgh warehouse or something, and they had like a month-to-month lease. Yep. For this, that
was a stupid move, but
busy times, you got to keep like something solid so that you're not caught with your pants down like that. So I mean, at this point, it's almost they're dying from a million paper cuts. It's like this little thing goes wrong, this little thing goes wrong. They're having a lot of just problems that are creeping up. But I mean, regardless of all that, they are still the big game in town. And almost to a certain segment, which is a large segment of the comic buying public, those are the real comics. Like, there are comics on Kickstarter outselling them, but to those people, the comics that are in previews in the comic stores, those are the real comics. And I mean, I think the evidence is probably in the buyer's guide, probably books that would, I don't know if like Beard Zerker or whatever would have made it into the buyer's guide. As far as, pricing and everything, they strictly see the legit comics as Diamond. So I think that part of the market will still support them into throughout the coming year. But, if more top publishers leave, then we'll have to see what happens.
All right. Fair enough. Mr. C, what do you think?
Oh, I didn't even know they made it out of 2023, honestly. Completely honest with you. Do I think they'll make it out of 2025? Sure. I mean, after all, they're sitting around freaking trying to suck on the teat of indie comics now anyway. Everybody that they denied are now getting into Diamond Comics. So those people will keep it around for sure. Will it do them any good? Highly doubt it. Really. the method for ordering from Diamond is not like it used to be. Where again, I've said it before. I feel like I'm repeating myself here, but ordering from Diamond Comics isn't where they see your comic and they go order a whole bunch of it. No, you got to get people out there to see that comic, to get the code, to send it in. Even Image people are doing this. I saw not Rick Remender, one of those guys. I can't remember who it is right now. Someone who maybe it was Rick Remender, who high on the indie scale, having to shill out, order from Diamond. Here's the Diamond number. That's horrible. You didn't have to worry about that. Why are we worried about that? No, if it makes it, it's going to be a crippled, hobbled thing. And to me, I feel like it might just be creators' waste of time instead of taking that, like Mark said, with that money and everything, and putting it into other endeavors and finding other ways to market other than trying to get your book into a failing catalog. That's just my opinion. So,
all right, that's fair. Sam, what are you thinking?
I think when you don't have the business infrastructure to support long-term growth, it's a remedy for disaster. And because they're playing a lot of short games and with patchwork, they're losing faith and confidence on the big wallets, right? The companies with the big wallets. So, and if their salvation is the indie community, it's not sustainable because it's inconsistent, right? And the wallet size is very different. So unless they do something dramatic and they change leadership or they come up with a new business model, the way they're working is going to hurt them long term. That's my opinion.
All right. Jay, what are you thinking?
I got a lot to think about. All right. This is a B2B business. Okay. So they don't sell directly to the consumer. They go from one business to the next business, right? When they're selling product to 2,500 locations, right? And your top 3 products are no longer in your catalog, it's going to be really hard to survive. And when I say the top 3 products in your catalog, I mean market share. This is approximately 85 to 90% of the business that you lose to the small 2,500 shops. Come on. It's hard. Will they sell? Will they be alive? I think they may sell. I think somebody's going to come up and sweep them up in pennies on the dollar, right? We're looking at Penguin Random House is still, they're the ones that bought Boom, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so they still have the contract going on through the summer to July with Diamond to distribute their books because they want to learn from them the same way Amazon learned from the United States Post Office, right? How to take care of logistics. Penguin Random House is trying to learn how to do that for the smaller locations, right? Because they have book buyers for the bigger shops, Target, Walmart, Barnes & Nobles, stuff like that. There are no book buyers for comic book shops. Maybe Midtown has one, right? Maybe Third Eye in the DMV area has one because they got 10 shops. Maybe Coliseum in the Florida area because they got more than 10 shops, right? Maybe they have buyers. But another thing is our business does not act like a traditional business. It doesn't. I come from a world, right? One of my past lives was in distribution. I worked for a beer vendor. I sold beer to different supermarkets and bars and bodegas and corner stores across New York City. That small distribution house had sales reps. How many times have you heard of sales reps from Diamond? How many times have you heard of that as a job, right? How many times do they have a certain area or territory and they go to visit the different shops and take care of business with them one-on-one? And another thing is, are they the only game in town? They're not, right? Because some of the bigger companies are learning how to cut out the B2B middleman, right? Just like this fucking little thing over here with Dollar Tree and DC Comics. Call it a store, call it whatever you want, all right? They got their books in close to 16,000 locations, all right? 16,000 locations, whether it's a marketing stunt or they made a couple pennies on the dollar, right? They moved units. And whether we want to agree with that or not, units is a big factor in optics out there in business, right?
Well, and that's
6,000 locations, 25.
kids reading stories too.
Yeah.
And then they want more of those stories.
Mhm.
You know,
They talk about saving the comic shop. Okay. I mean, we're trying to get a fucking book off the ground, right? How many of us could put out 4 issues in a year? Hold on, let me bring that back. How many could put out 2 issues in a year, right? And they wanted to talk about saving comic shops, and these are the people that want to get into shops, but they can't put out, I think, even on a quarterly basis. So, from the foundation of our business, we are fucked, and we are built on toothpicks.
So what you're saying is they should get rid of the floppies and just go straight to volumes. That way, it's more like novels instead of.
I don't know, because when you look at the 90s, you look at the 90s in bookshops, right?
Right.
Bookshops got eaten. The small mom and pop bookshops got eaten up by the B. Daltons and the Borders and the Barnes and Nobles, and now Barnes and Nobles is the smaller little bookshop, right? It flip flopped. They're the local place now with the small coffee shop inside.
True.
So to go for just volumes, that's one aspect, right? Is anybody going to come out with the totality, the answer to save it all? I don't think so. I don't think so, and it's going to keep getting worse before it gets better.
Yeah. For myself, I mean, Dan, that thing about the what is it? Death by 1,000 paper cuts or whatever it is. 100. I don't think this is death by 1,000 paper cuts. They lost 80% of their business. That's worth getting decapitated. I mean,
Big paper cut.
yeah, that's the big paper.
That's the big one.
Sliced and diced.
Yeah, they got decapitated, amputated. I mean, they're quadriplegics at this point. I mean, those guys, right?
They got kneecapped. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember when they lost Marvel and Steve Jeffy made that announcement and he said, "Oh, they're not even 5% of our business"?
No, that was Dark Horse. That was Dark Horse.
Oh, it was Dark Horse. Excuse me.
Dark Horse. He said he could never say that about Marvel. He can never say that.
But even with the paper cut thing, though, it's because they've continually cut themselves over the years. Now this is just a bigger cut. So I think both of them work together.
I mean, I said this 2 weeks ago, I think on Jay's show, where it's like this thing about, okay, Indy, I don't know, 98, 97, somewhere in that area. I don't remember exactly. But there was a period of time when Capital City was still in the game. Image had a choice to make, and they chose Diamond over Capital City.
Right.
And look, they made the right decision for their business. They did not make the right decision for the business. Okay, by limiting it to just Diamond, it let Diamond just run roughshod over this entire industry for 30 years?
Right? Monopolized it, even though it wasn't considered a monopoly. But yeah,
right. Listen, donating to senators and presidential funds does have its benefits, right? So, being a lobbyist, has its benefits. So, but the thing is that Diamond, they just totally pushed all the indies to the side and only promoted Marvel and DC.
Right.
And then when things got really rough, Marvel and DC just kicked them to the curb. Because the thing is the one thing Diamond never realized was they weren't the game. Marvel and DC were the game. Diamond was just a tool to those
facilitator.
guys.
Right. But Capital was operating the same way Diamond was, and they were carrying a lot of debt. If they were run better, they'd still be here, bro.
No. You don't know the mechanics of what happened back then. You understand the way Steve Jeffy swept in? I mean, the guy just came in and undercut everybody. Capital City was a much better company. You ask anybody who was around back then, and they'll tell you who had to deal with Capital City. I know, I dealt with them.
Marvel bought Heroes World Distribution?
Yes.
Okay.
Out on Long Island. And that was the thing that precipitated the whole thing with Diamond, going exclusive with everybody. Capital City tried to fight back. We lost 11 distributors in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, it was crazy. But the biggest issue with that is that, Diamond, basically ignored the indies. They didn't promote the indies at all, right? And just went ahead and just pushed Marvel and DC. And when they lost Marvel and DC, what do they got? They got the indies. It's like, it's insane because they lost Dark Horse. They lost IDW. They're losing Boom soon, right? What's left? Dynamite and what's that other company? Zenoscope.
Zenoscope, yeah.
Zenoscope. I mean, come on. It's sad, It's sad. And I mean, are they gonna? I think they'll hold on. If we're lucky, maybe Penguin Random House will come in and buy it and keep it the way it is. But I don't know if they'd want to invest.
That seems like a bad investment. Seems like a bad investment.
Well, see, the problem is we don't know how much they're interested in the market, right? Because we don't know what their strategies are and what they're looking for. Because that's the thing, is that we don't know. Because the thing is, they may be looking for independent publishers to absorb titles, right? Like they'll find the ones that'll sell. And Penguin Random House is a big company. And if they could find just one or two, if they just find one Harry Potter throughout the thousands of books that come out, right? That's all they need. They need one Dog Boy or Dogman, right? They need one out of the thousands of comics that come out. They find one. They find one Bone, right? And if they're able to, and it doesn't matter who's printing them, they'll be like, they can approach anybody, and it doesn't matter if it's Image, Dark Horse, whomever. They'll buy out the contract, whatever, and they'll be like, okay, they'll bring that creator on, and they'll start distributing, and that's it, and that'll pay for itself,
But where are they going to sell it to? You know what I mean? I mean, how many smaller comic shops?
No, they're not going to be interested. They're going to be looking at the bigger market. They don't care. The smaller comic shop is just a test market for them. It's going to be test market stuff. Then they're going to want to move that to the bigger market where they really make their money. They're not interested in, like the 2,500 stores. They're like, okay, that might, as long as they're not losing money and maybe making a small percentage on that margin, I think they'll be fine with it. But if, they're going to be looking to get something into the larger market. And those are the things. And look, and that's an opportunity for all of us as independent creators. We produce something that would interest them. They see that's like, oh, okay, this is a diamond in the rough that's maybe not selling in the direct market or is doing okay in the direct market. If we take this title and we put it in the bigger markets, we can sell this, because that's what they're looking for, and that's where maybe the opportunity lies for them, possibly for us, who knows. But as far as Diamond surviving the year, I hope they do.
Is that whole UFC thing, right? When Dana White convinced the brothers to buy the UFC,
right.
And he was digging through the videos. That's how he found Joe Rogan,
right?
And he was like, "Wait, hold on." He goes, "This guy," and so and then Joe Rogan helped make UFC to what it is.
Yep.
So it's like sometimes that catalog or even just their assets and their clientele, just getting they have an infrastructure that's been there for years, so anybody's going to benefit from that.
Right. Exactly. All right, Jay, you're up.
All right, something you said earlier sparked this question, right? And you said when Diamond had Marvel and DC and everybody else, that they stopped looking at the independents. Well, that's pretty much what's happening over at Lunar right now, right? Everyone's jumping ship, and they are so overwhelmed that they're not taking on new product right now. So my question is Lunar learning from Diamond's mistakes, or are they doomed to repeat them in the future?
Good question. Dan, what do you think?
Yeah, most likely they are, their growth rate has been pretty quick. So I would have to say that they're probably going to get that ego going, and they probably will repeat those mistakes. But one thing that you were saying as far as something beneficial to us, I think like, you have your dynamites, let's say, some of the bigger established indie companies that are out there, they gain to benefit a lot more than there are many just like, I'll say, self-publishers almost who are out there now finding their way into Diamond, which is great. But there's a harsh reality of the fact that most of the orders are going to be like pull list orders. When you have the guys like I used to fill out my own Diamond order every month, and plenty of people doing that. By the fact that you're in that catalog and people have the opportunity to do that, that's great. But to believe that the self-publisher would, it depends. If you have a good amount of heat, then maybe. But otherwise, they're really not going to like buy 5 just to see what it does. They can't afford to do that.
Correct.
They're ordering very conservatively. They can't be stuck with anything. So in that respect, I think this type of thing will benefit the medium size, let's say, the companies that have been out there for a little while, if they Antarctic Press, they may grab a couple ninja high schools where in the past they might not have. But the comic stores still, from the other distributors, have to order their big stuff, their Marvel, their DC, popular titles from other companies, G.I. Joe, Transformers, whatever, licensed products. So most of these smaller indies are only going to see the bump if you're doing the work yourself, which goes back to what C. Michael said, as far as the creator does have to, push his wares a bit in this market to generate your own sales. And in that respect, maybe you can gain a greater foothold in these bigger distribution channels.
All right, cool. C, what are you thinking?
So the question was, do I think that Lunar's going to make the same mistakes as Diamond, or are they going to learn from Diamond's mistakes?
Yes.
Any particular mistakes we're talking about? Because we're talking about a distribution. So I'm kind of like...
Right. So they've grown too fast. They've taken on more than they can handle, similar to what Diamond did back during the distributor wars, right? And other product not being able to get into the catalog. Okay. So that's right now, that's my only reference point.
Okay. Because I haven't been keeping up with this. I didn't even know about Boom with this leaving Diamond. I'm not surprised. But there's a good chance. I think Dan nailed it on the head. That ego right there could definitely cause them to make some of the same changes, although it depends on what they have on their staff. If they have a lot of an older staff on there, they could make the same mistakes. They have a lot of the younger staff on there. That could change things drastically, because then they understand what the market is looking at now and what people are looking at now, because it's not the same thing that they were looking at back in the 90s when Diamond was distributing. So I think it's too early to tell what they're going to do. If they're growing too fast and they follow, I doubt that they're going to follow Diamond's lead too much because of what's happened. And just the fact that in the past 30 years, where that's led to, and a lot has changed. So I'd like to think that maybe how long has Lunar been around?
So their first incarnation or their current incarnation?
Their current incarnation.
Their current incarnation since the pandemic, right? Yeah. But they have only been like that because they were doing half off trades, right? And DCBS, right? So they've got 3 different revenue streams coming in.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see what happens. I think it's still kind of early to tell, what they're going to do. Okay. We'll see. But they might take on too much. That is true. That is a common mistake among early businesses. So,
yeah,
I think in the next couple of years we'll be able to tell.
Cool, Mark. What are you thinking?
Oh, I got lots of thoughts.
Let's
First
hear
of
it,
all, one thing about Lunar. So everybody's got this, baby. The
Not yet,
PC
man.
style guide, right?
No. Yeah,
I've been
this
waiting
is
40 years for this book, right?
Yeah,
We
$100
heard
book,
about
baby.
it.
Yeah.
We heard
Yeah.
about it 40
Heard
years
about it.
ago. Jose Luis Garcia Lopez is one of my very favorite artists. It's one of the guys who I got into comics because, right? There's a whole big book of it. Not in Diamond. Never showed up in Diamond. I went to my local and told him about it, and he was like, "It's not in Diamond." I had no idea about it. I got it because I had bought some other books from Standard Manuals, and I saw that come across the mailing list on Standard Manuals. And I was like, pre-order right now, right? Just take my money as fast as I could possibly. Like, can I buy two? Like, so, but Lunar has it on the front page. So they might have learned something.
Okay.
They might have learned something. Yes, Lunar's going to run into mistakes, but I think that, like, when you were the beer distributor, Jay, were you the only liquor distributor or alcohol distributor that went to those stores?
No.
See,
So
I think that's the model that's wrong, is that we should have a multitude of distributors who show up and you pick from those distributors. One thing my local does that I really like is they put out all the solicitations on a Facebook group that you have to sign up for, that if you're a subscriber. So I have a pull list and I'm a subscriber. So I get like 70 or 80 books shown to me in this group every week, and all I got to do is to like it to get the book, right? It's easy for him. It's easy for me. I don't have to get previews. I don't have to do anything like that. It's all there. And he posts the price. He posts all the different variant covers, all that good stuff. And that leads me to one of the things that somebody said. I forget who, it might've been Jay. This is an industry that is run. There are two types of comic book shops. We've been in both of them. The shop that's run by the collector that you're like, what is this shop? Like there's nothing in the window. There's long boxes as far as you can see. There's nobody greets you or has any sort of marketing or understanding of how to actually run a business. And then there's like my local is run by a good guy. It's 40 years old, my local, and he's doing better now than he's ever done before. And we don't live in a big town, right? I live in a college town, which he sees an influx in and out of students, but not a huge influx the way he used to. But there needs to be better business education for comic book shop owners. Because I think that would help with this distribution problem, because they would know the right questions to ask. Like, so many people are like, well, Diamond's the only game in town. Well, they're not the only game in town. There's other people doing it, and you should look around and do your diligence to find out who else is looking. Two more things real quick. I'm stuck, and I think maybe some of you also are stuck in this situation where there is a whole network of really underground comic distributors doing really great work, putting underground comics in a lot of different stores across the country. My books, they refused both of them because they said, you got color pages. They're beautiful. We love them. Can we keep these books? They're lovely. Can you sell us more books? But we can't distribute these. We do black and whites. We do zines. We do, there's that whole distribution network that we're kind of in the middle between Diamond and that. And I do want to tell you that what is happening is the big companies like Penguin and Random House have these smaller imprints that are especially for kids' books that are approaching small publishers, I don't know, maybe my size, I'm going to tell you, I got a couple of cards that are looking to get that next thing at that level because it's cheaper. They think they can buy my book cheaper than a Mad Cave book or a
Like
you
a
know,
book.
a Dark Horse book, right?
Mhm.
So those editors are asking. I've got asked at least twice this year for solicitations for ideas for graphic novels for all ages books for kids, for those people. And I'd love to do that, but I also don't like. I like my stuff, and I like owning everything in it. So
Mhm. No, that's fair. Sam, what are you thinking?
I think that they're listening to the stores, which is what they're reacting to, which is what Diamond wasn't doing. Diamond was making mandatory. They had expectations, and you had to meet those expectations, and they were muscling the stores. They're reacting to the stores, and they're reacting to the sales, and they're saying, "Look, if the stores can't sell it, we can't distribute it." And so, yeah, does it hurt? Yeah, of course, but I think that they see the smoke and they want to react before it becomes a fire. And so that is a positive sign. I think it just forces some of these publishers to be very intentional with what they're going to put out, and so they have long term growth. I think sometimes publishers take on too much, right? And that's the other side of the story, right? They want to have, they think that everybody wants to compete with the big two, but they don't have that capital, and so they think by putting out a big arsenal of books and titles, and that's going to help them focus on a couple, and put all your energy into it, and tell a great story, and then build slowly from there. So I think they're reacting to the stores, which is a positive sign on their end. You saw what they did with Scout, so it's if they're not meeting that minimum expectation where they sell whatever it is, they don't want to hurt their relationships with the stores.
All right, that's fair. Just to be clear, I'm a little biased. I've been buying from DCBS for the last 10 years. so I'm a little biased. So because always get great customer service, always get my books, get them pristine. I get them once a month. It's like Christmas every month. I get a box. I open it up and it has however many books I got that month. As far as Lunar is concerned, could they make the same mistakes? It is possible, right? Because the gatekeeping is harsh, right? It's necessary, right? Because you don't want, because look, you have like Mark was saying, there's zine distributors, and there's zine distributors for a reason, right? Because the mass market isn't necessarily built to distribute that type of work. Is there a market for it? Yes, there's definitely a market for it. There are people who love that stuff. There's some of that stuff that I buy, right? But it depends on what it is. But the problem is that we don't have, as independent publishers, like, it's crazy because you think about that type of distribution and that type of work, and then you have us who are trying to produce stuff that's closer to Marvel and DC in the sense of the level of professionalism. You want full color, you want it nice and bright, and you nice glossy looking work. We're not looking to do, you staple the books together ourselves, print them all in black and white, and that sort of thing. But when it comes down to Lunar, it's going to be interesting to see, because they haven't been taking on any new accounts. Now, when they get their new warehouse finished, I know Jay was talking about, you were talking about how they're opening up a new warehouse or getting it built out. Are they going to start taking on new accounts when they do that, right? Are they going to be able to, right? Because, somebody I know, Ben Dunn, he's yet to get a deal over Lunar, which has surprised me because they've been around forever, right? Antarctic Press. So only time will tell. I don't know if it was C who said that, whether or not they're going to make any mistakes or repeat the same mistakes. And let me tell you, Diamond's made a lot of mistakes. So, there's a landmine there. I mean, there's a minefield out there for them to navigate. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. All right, Jay, it's all yours.
I think they're going to make a totally different set of mistakes. They have a very young staff, right? It's almost a family-run business. At the top is a husband and wife. The wife has taken over the Lunar section. The husband has the DCBS and the half stock. I mean the half of trade section.
Yeah, in stock trades.
In stock trades.
Yeah, that's the name of the company.
Okay, I'm sorry. We know who I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
In stock trades, but they're all like half off, though, aren't they?
Nah, it's instocktrades.com.
Okay, all right. So they got a really young staff, and the learning curve on this is steep, man. Well, they,
but they have been doing it for about 3 or 4 years now.
They have been doing it at 3 or 4 years. They've been doing it at 3 or 4 years because they've got Coke and Pepsi. You know what I'm saying? Right? Everybody wants Coke and Pepsi.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when you get tired of Coke and Pepsi?
Sprite.
Become a pepper.
I mean, who wants Fanta, right? But you can make fucking money off of Fanta.
Mm-hmm.
The industry as a whole, I think, is fucked, guys. I really do.
You are just a picture of optimism. I can't tell you how much sunshine I'm feeling from you right now.
It's like, for us, right? We were gate kept, right? We were kept out of shops for years. Yeah, we could get into a couple shops, but it's not like we can fucking, hang our hat on it, right? We do better when we go DTC, direct to consumer. We do better with these kind of platforms. Right, the crowdfunding platforms, and working our own little fiefdoms from the ground up. Right, Sam is out there almost every fucking weekend hitting conventions and building up his client base, which is great. How many of us can do that though? Right, I'd love to. I only got 3 conventions booked for this year. Right, Sam's probably got 76.
12.
12.
Oh God,
right? So it's like it's only through walking shoulder to shoulder with you guys can we expand awareness of our products. I don't think the greater industry at large is going to be what we grew up loving. Right? They're going to be more like collectible shops as opposed to, hey, Wednesday Warrior shops.
Well, I think we're going into, it's funny. I think we're moving into the micro publishing stage of this.
Yeah.
Right? Where it's like, I have thoughts of going in. See? Are you holding up your hand like you want to say something?
No, I'm trying to focus my camera. Look at the stupid autofocus crap.
Mrs. Kerbapple.
I was like, what's going on? No, but I mean, I think we're moving into an area of micro publishing, right? So one of the things I'm thinking about now is like, I have a number of things I'm considering of doing. One of the things I'm considering of doing is if I go through Diamond, and I told this to Jay, like one of my big issues is I don't want to stock books. I'm tired. I've stocked books. I got a bunch of them in the other room. And what I mean by that is printing 3,000 copies, selling, I can sell 2,000, 2,200, whatever the case may be, but I still have books left over, right? And here's the thing. I'm insane, so I don't print just one book. So I'm printing the Oswald Chronicles, Magi's Grace, Dreamweavers, and Tall Tales. So if I only have, let's say I sell a bulk of it, and I have 800 copies of each left over, I still made a profit. Everything's paid off, and I still made a profit. But I still got 3,200 books sitting in my back room, and that's one issue. And then when the second issue comes out, I got another 3,200 copies if I'm lucky. right? And then when the third issue comes out, okay, so it piles up. It piles up quick, right? For anyone who's done it. And that's just you. That's you selling a bulk of it, right? A bulk of it is sold. You're in the black. You've made money. You're making money, right? But you still got a pile of books in your closet or your garage or your basement or wherever you keep it. So what I'm thinking of is, what if I did a 1,000 print run, and I'm like, look, I'm not printing any more than that, right? Pre-print it in China, get it over here, and be like, look, I got 1,000 of them. You sell out, yo, you give it to whoever the hell you want to give it to, but I'm only printing 1,000 of them. So, but we got orders for 1,200. Yeah, well, that's life. You got 1,000, right? Because at what point does does that extra little cash you get outweigh the other part? So I mean, these are things I'm struggling with myself right now. So these are just thoughts, right? I don't have any answers. I don't expect anyone to have any answers. I mean, if you guys want to chime in, that's free. Feel free.
Yeah,
but I mean,
there's things you can always do with the surplus, right?
I could build furniture out of it. I could make paper machine flyers.
It's like, all right,
I don't know. All I've learned tonight is I don't go to enough cons and I don't print enough books.
Will the distributor tolerate that is the question. Like, if you're consistently 200 short, 300 short of their order,
well,
will they say, like, look,
Well, I can always just go in and say, well, this is a limited edition run of 1,000 pieces.
Yeah.
You understand? If it's already predetermined, what are they going to tell me? Right?
So you want to operate like Bad Idea, basically.
I mean, let me tell you something. As bad of an idea as it is, right? They're making a lot of money. So
they make the money, but they got VC money behind them. That's why they can make these kind of moves, dude.
I don't think they have VC money. It's just the guy who
he's a Hollywood guy.
Yeah, well, he's rich.
He's a Hollywood guy, bro.
He's rich. On. I just said it. He's rich.
Yeah,
the guy's rich. He got money. Yes, but it's not VC money. It's a little different. That's what distillery is running on.
Yes, distillery does have VC money. Yes,
but it'll probably come down to the person you're dealing with, and if they're like, if they're uncompromising and they're like, look, we need more books, you're going to be sitting on them, but I don't really care about you. So, right. But if they're willing to, you say it's a limited 1,000, they're willing to just go with that. But, at some point they might just say, you got to up the numbers a little bit, we're looking bad, like we can't fulfill this.
Well, then at that point, the way I look at it is like this: is consistency. If you see you're consistently selling out of those 1,000 books, then you adjust. You say, okay, let's do 1,200, let's do 1,300, let's do 1,500 at that point. But once you get to that point, right? Like I said, it's something I'm thinking about for the future, because I have, like I said, the brain is like, so it's doing all that stuff. Anyway, Sam, what's your question?
All right. First, that's a crazy idea. But as an independent, you don't put limits on the purchaser, the consumer demands what happens. So that's you hurt yourself long game. But the question I have is, if you have door number 1 closed, door number 2 closed, and door number 3 closed, what's the option? So we're saying, Diamond is on the verge of losing everything. Lunar is not accepting anything, right? Zine is not accepting your work. Where do you go? What's your backup?
Fair enough. Mr. Michael. You're up.
The internet. There's plenty of places to go on the internet. In fact, I'm going to say forget those 3 doors and do that. Learn how to market yourself. Forget trying to these guys are distributing to dinosaurs. Come on. Mm-hmm. We just said it now. Books A Million had our Barnes and Noble. Books A Million barely exists anymore. But Barnes and Noble is now the small small bookstore, right? They're dying. Direct to consumer is where it's at. Look, I just pulled up Kickstarter. Man, let me tell you something. Somebody had 100% on some kind of Sentai superheroes or whatever, right? They're making 15 grand on that. Guess what, guys? No boobs. Sir, I know that's going to bust some people's bubbles. No boobs on the campaign. Why? Because they probably know how to market themselves.
Mhm.
So you have to ask yourself a question. Am I marketing myself in the 90s or am I marketing myself in 2025? That's the question. Because we're talking about these distributors going around and the comic book stores are dying. I hate the direct market. I'm going to tell you that now. I think the direct market has put us in the situation that we're in now.
Yeah.
When you see the rise of comic book stores as it's a niche. And how do you get people onto a niche? It's not by pulling them into a store that they would never enter into, right? So, my opinion is the door's wide open. You just have to learn how to step through it. Those other 3 doors, I'd already count them as closed. They're open to people other than you, unless you want to go out there and try and make connections and everything. Look, it's like Image Comics. Image Comics, they're indie creators. They're open submissions all the time and all this and everything else. But if you talk to these guys, you learn real quick that Image, thanks to Eric Larson, your best chance to get an Image is if you work for Marvel, DC, or one of the big ones. That's it. That's it. Leave it alone. Let it go. Do you? Another thing that I see coming up is independent animation. And the thing about the independent animation that's out there, YouTube animation, streaming services are picking up these things. Now, why that doesn't necessarily mean anything for comics, but that could also mean another market for artists out there looking for work, because they're going to want to sell products outside of what they're streaming. And comics are a good way to do that as well. You see what I'm saying? So comics to their animated shorts or their animated shows on YouTube. Right now, we are in a renaissance of independent animation, and I think if we really adjusted ourselves, we could capitalize in that same arena as well. But we have to stop acting like Diamond and Lunar and the comic book retail market is something that is salvageable. Stop beating the damn dead horse. Stop performing CPR on this thing, and let's move on to an open door. And that's what I say about that.
I like
to get the doors.
That's fair, but I have to tell you something though. See, I mean, I feel a way
if you feel violated,
I like boobs. Anyway, Mark.
Well, there's just some dreams
I gotta
that you
tell
want to hold on to. It's like, I want to be in Diamond. That's always been my dream.
No. I'm talking about. I said I like boobs. It didn't have nothing to do with Diamond.
Oh, that's my point. My point being is people are making money. The whole argument is on Kickstarter. You make money if you have boobs on the cover. We know that's not true.
No,
right.
We should realize that by now. Does that work for some? Yeah, but not for everybody.
And you don't see them doing multiple issues. You don't see them doing multiple books. Jay, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to stop coming on this podcast if C is on, because he gets in my head. I'm like doing my year plan, and I'm hearing C's voice in my head about marketing, and like
I don't
he's
know
keeping
shit.
me up at night. I'm like, I'm not on Webtoons. C says I should be on Webtoons. I gotta get on Webtoons.
No, you should be on Webtoons. You should have your own blog. You should this. There's a whole bunch of stuff that you probably should do, because it's kind of like it's a salesman. Well, it's a salesman pitch, right? What's a salesman pitch?
Well, yeah.
You sell to 100 people, you get one, right? So the more that you put out there, the chances are that you're going to get back.
Well,
that's the case.
And Jay asked if there was a buyer for comic book shops. I'm the buyer. Like I'm the sales rep for my shop. I'm the marketing person. I'm everything. And to be honest, I don't want to be in the business of packing thousands of comics. I pack my 150 comics a year on each Kickstarter. I feel very good. I can write a personalized note to every single backer that backs my book. And I know that those people read my books, right? And I run my business at zero because we we've talked about this before. You don't get into this right away to make money. So the fact that I run at zero is A-okay with me. It's A-okay with my family. It's A-okay with the artists. And I pay the artists who I work with. That's the important thing to me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that C's in my head all the freaking time.
all you need in order to survive is a willing fan base that's large enough. You don't need the millions and trillions of billions of freaking comic book readers out there to read your stuff. You just need a certain fan base. And wouldn't it be great if that certain fan base doesn't have to have a middleman where that money comes directly to you and you're not having to pay a 10%, 15%?
That is exactly what I have right now. See,
yeah,
that's what I have. I got 500 people on the mailing list. I got Kickstarters that fund long before the end of them. You know, I got regular people who are picking up everything that I do or are interested in what I do. And I'm not doing 12 shows, but the shows I'm doing, I'm selling books at, more books every time. And I think Sam's right. You don't want to be like, I'm only doing 1,000 books, but it is okay to say, I only brought 50 books to this show, man.
Mm-hmm.
I may not have any books on Sunday.
Yeah. Fair enough. Dan, what are your thoughts?
I got to agree with Mark that C. Michael brings a lot of hard-hitting facts. It shows one to watch. JD has all the experience. You get the soothing baritone of Timothy Fling. I mean, this is just like the one to tune into. But as far as the obviously the crowdfunding is the alternative, and it's, you know, we get more and more Indiegogos in there. Fund my comic. I mean, there's just Zoop now. People are selling, so that's growing and growing. Being that there are many who want to get past the gatekeepers and be able to publish their own books. And those provide a channel. We also, of course, have to look outside of these sources to try to bring in readers. And people do that, you know, doing these library shows, doing even some like just street fair type things, where sometimes if you're the only comic in town, or even these specialty shows where, you know, for the people with the booby books, if they go to that adult porn con or whatever, you know, sometimes that can really, I guess, bring in, and with this age of, I guess, broadcasting and live streaming and stuff like that, that type of environment, you know, different places could bring in some viewership, being that is something different. You know, as long as, I guess, there's a steady enough amount of those things to attend to, because I do see some people who just, you know, they're kind of like in the fake it until you make it bracket. And it's like, I'm here at Vinny's Pizzeria Con, and, you know, they're at a pizza parlor with their book on the table, making like they're doing something, when that's, you know, kind of like, okay, I get it, you need content, but
I think the best thing for that is like, yeah, it's like, that's the best thing about this. I'm at a pizza con, but hey, you know what? Come down, grab you a slice, and grab you an issue. That's be as genuine as you possibly can.
Yeah, it's something different. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I think, like I said, I don't think I mean, I guess 20 years now without distribution, mainstream distribution, aside from Antarctic Press publishing some of my stuff. But other than that, you know, I have yet to even go over to China and do offset printing to, you know, print on demand. The margins are going to be a lot different. So you're not going to seek the same distribution channels as JD's talking about, where you have 1,000 sitting in the back room. So, luckily, again, had another career, been able to, support myself without just, keeping it all coming in from the comics. But yeah, I mean, to maximize it, you have to choose the right platforms for yourself, see where you're gaining success, see what's clicking for you. And if it isn't the big distributors, then if you can still make it without them, more power to you.
All right, cool. Jay, what are you thinking?
Yeah, Sam, I'm going to choose door number 3. Right, door number 3. For those of you who don't know, Amazon and Walmart combined are gearing up to be capturing 25% of the American dollar in 2025. You go where the money is at. All right. Chiming in on what C said earlier with the independent animation. I love that, because when Invincible aired on Amazon, those 6 weeks of season 1, he sold 120,000 trades.
Mhm.
120,000 trades, an average of $12 a trade. It's 1.2 million fucking dollars, right? He made dough. Now, yes, is he somebody had a name prior to this? Of course. Scale that down. Could that do something for us? Unfortunately, animation is expensive, even if it's independent animation. And I know you guys don't like this. I know it's very taboo, because we come from the artist side of things. All right. But the manufacturing side of things, they use AI a lot. They do. Right. And I've seen a lot of independent toy people using those AI animatics to move, right, their figures. Is it something that is frowned upon by our community at large? Yes. It doesn't mean it is not happening. So I use that as a parallel. How many people that want to get into this and think about independent art may supplement some of that with AI stuff? All right. I know from being quoted, you're looking at $900 a second. $900 a second, dude. Right? 24 frames, 24 images in that 1 second. Now they say, oh, well, if somebody runs, you can flip flop and you can pretty much save that money. Yeah, but you're not going to do a full 22 minutes or 10 minutes or 5 minutes of somebody running. Right? So independent is hard. And the other thing is, goes back to that rule, if it's good and fast, it's not cheap. If it's cheap and fast, it's not good, right? And if it's good and fast, it's not cheap. I don't know, right? Anywhere the combos fucking run, it's gonna get expensive. But yes, independent animation is a great way to follow stuff back to your core product. But now the question becomes, are you putting the cart before the horse? What do you
But that's
sell?
not. But you do understand. I'm not telling you to go do animation, right?
No, I know you're not
Okay.
saying to do animation.
Okay. I'm just making sure that's not what you meant.
I do know that animation is a hell of a lot bigger door
Yeah.
than our niche comic books, right? And this is something that we've talked about on my thing a bunch of times. And look at us here. How many of us here are under 48? Right.
I thought you said under 480.
Right. We're catering to an older demographic, and nostalgia is fucking expensive. Nostalgia will kill you. Nostalgia will run you out of fucking business.
There you go.
Well, you go back to nostalgia on that too, which I think is interesting. If you do look at the business model in the 80s, what was the main reason that they made cartoons?
To sell toys.
To sell toys.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, bro.
Exactly.
Oh,
and
I'm a student,
how much did you pay to watch He-Man, or you're a G.I. Joe buff, right?
Free 99, right? Right.
No, that's how much you pay for a figure, right? I'm talking about how much did you pay to watch it?
Right. But okay, so here's where the disconnect happens between that and comic books. All right. That cartoon is what we love to say in comics was a lost leader, right? That was a marketing expense for them. We don't have that marketing budget. We don't. We barely have a budget to produce the book.
Yes, but I'm not asking you. But I'm not asking you to make a budget to where you make a cartoon. My question wasn't what was the budget for making a cartoon to put that out. My budget was that what was it given away for? How much did you, as a consumer, pay for that?
For the cartoon. To view the
cartoon. For the cartoon.
To view
the cartoon. Exactly.
Right. Nothing,
now
bro.
think. Yeah. And what did that do?
Oh, got me invested in the product.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. And there are avenues now. Now, I understand where you're at here. They still had to put money in order to put that out, to see it freely, but it ended up paying off later on. What's that old saying they used to say? You can't make money unless you spend money?
Of course.
That's the case, right?
But sometimes that money is spending the time making that extra content out of the content that you have. So like I'll do a reel of me, the thumbnail of the cover, the rough of the cover, the inks of the cover, the color of the cover, and then the final cover as a way to promote what I'm doing and talking about. And people love that behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah. Okay. And
that doesn't cost me anything but my time to build that.
Right. That's what I'm saying. And then that ends up producing you a customer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what my point is.
But a customer, brother. A customer.
No, dude, I used a customer.
A customer is a good thing for me.
Right? But I'm not saying he's not making just one customer off of that. If he's getting a following to where he's got a number of people enjoying that number of people are going to buy the product. So yeah, I said a customer, but I wasn't being literal on the customer thing. Don't look at that.
I hear you.
Nitpicking that one a little bit.
Well, no, okay, so I apologize. I'm not trying to nitpick on that, but let's bring this back. All right, Mark said earlier he has an average consumer base of 150 customers. Right, dude. Those 150 customers are not bringing in a lot of dough for him to afford the animation. And I'm not trying to knock your I'm not trying to yuck your yum, right? I'm not trying to
but I feel like you still don't get me. I feel like you still not understand what I'm saying. You keep going back to animation. I'm using animation as an example of the indie platform. I'm not using animation as saying you need to use that. I'm saying that we can use the momentum that they have used to make animation for indie comics. That's my point. I feel like sitting here and waiting to try to get into the distributor or to a publisher or some garage publisher that later on down the line everybody loved, but then they found out, they're not paying their fucking the people that they're buying from, still sitting around scouting around, and I fucking said it. That I did. Fuck them. Here's the deal. Nobody's gonna want to work with me, and that's okay. But look, but it's just the truth. Instead of trying to do that, make your own damn thing. I'm not saying go make an animation. I'm saying use that. They didn't make their own animation right off the bat. They started off with Tumblrs. They started off with TikToks. They started off with YouTubes. They started off with Patreons. All these things that are free for you to upload to. That's my point. And my point on being in the 80s, that wasn't a chance market. It's been opened up for us. In the 80s, that wasn't the only thing you had was TV. So they had to spend money to do that. But it's significantly less for us to do it. I'm not saying go out there and do animation. I'm saying use animation as a marketing blueprint, what they've done for indie animation.
Okay.
Yeah. No, that's understood. Don't go make animation. It costs $200,000 a fucking episode.
I'd love to do the fucking animation because it's a great fucking doorway. It is, right? So,
all right, Jay, like you've beaten this one to death. All right. So
I love you, Jay. Don't take it.
You beat this to the death. Like, let me answer the question. Let Sam answer the question. Then we can run through a couple of things. We keep the show moving, right? Because this was we're just running in circles here.
I enjoyed my last time on the show. Thank you, guys.
No, you're always welcome. You know that. And I'll always be certain to invite Mark whenever you're on, because all right. So look, I mean, as far as the door, which doors are open and which doors are closed. Look, man, we're independent publishers. We have to make our own doors, right? Like, whether it be through animation or whatever, selling, I mean, for the longest time, like, Daphne and I left, or we got booted out of Diamond, and we ended up doing a lot of shows, right? So that's how we ended up, doing that. And then Kickstarter came about, so we started doing a lot of that. Now we're at a point where, like, okay, well, now we're looking for diversification, right? To C's point, I will never give up on the direct market, because it is a revenue stream that can be taken advantage of, right? I get it. It's frustrating. You understand? And I know a lot of people talk about it, and not enough is done about it, but it's there. So as long as it's there, we should utilize it, right? Or at least try to, right? I'm not interested in, working at Marvel or DC, but, they're utilizing, we should try to utilize it. But we should try to utilize as much as possible, as humanly as we can, right? Because like Mark said, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and then, all the various platforms I have to get on, and all this other stuff, and doing this show and a bunch of other shows. Who has time for that, right? I still want to produce books, right? So we got to try to get in. And then the thing is I don't know how many people in general, when they get into this as small pressers, have an idea of what they want to do as far as a model, right? Their business model, right? If they even have one, right? To push back against Sam a little bit, I understand about not limiting what we offer the clientele base. But here's the thing, though, right? Here's the thing. I'm not interested in selling. I mean, if I can sell 1 million books, that's great. But I have to sell it all in one shot and be done with it, right? If you're gonna tell me I got to stock 900 copies every month for every book I do, nah. I'll put a cap on it. You understand? Because that's what's going to benefit me. Because at some point, look, I got space, but at some point my space is going to wear out, and then I got to rent a storage unit, right? And then we're in New York City. We know what storage. Jay, what does a storage unit cost?
Dough.
Exactly.
Let's just say
exactly. Let me put it to you like this: in most states, the rent in most states is what one of our storage units costs here. Okay, that's how crazy it is, right? So, if I have to say, because here's the thing: when I put a cap on it, there's two things I do. I can build a little bit of excitement, right? Because they say, well, there's only a limited amount coming, so I have to order it, right? So there's no waiting. Two, I know exactly how much money I'm going to make, right? So as long as I can factor those in, and I know what I'm selling for and how much I'm going to make, I'm okay. And as long as I'm okay with that, right? And with my business model, my stuff's already paid for through Kickstarter, right? So whatever I'm making, that's gravy on the back end. So it just depends on how you're setting up your business. So that's my pushback, Sam. There you go. So go ahead, Sam. Answer your question.
You do you, boo.
I always do.
I think when you look at the race, the presidential race, right? I think it was his son capitalized on TikTok, right? And it was his son that was capital. I think what happens, we have to learn, either you take your money and you invest in getting SEO certified and learn how to manipulate the algorithms to work in your favor to drive traffic to your website, or you hire a specialist that's going to help you, because the Facebook, Instagram, the algorithms are not working to your advantage, because they're just saturated with influencers, and they're looking for specific things that's just gonna run. So you need to get an expert. I think that's the next stage in comics. If take your money, instead of animation is too expensive, distributors are locking their doors. Hire an expert in an arena that you are a novice on, and either have them educate you or have them do the legwork so that you can focus on being a creative, and then use that, and then use your platforms and pick one or two, whether it's Twitter or Facebook or whatever it is that works for you to build that fan base, and then go there and branch out as you build it. But I think what happens is we spread ourselves. Then we're trying to get as many platforms as possible. It's taken away from your creative process, right? So it slows you down. Start getting smarter and hire people that on the back end that's going to do the legwork, so you can do your stuff on the front end. That's if you're not getting into distribution.
Now, wait a minute. Are you guys not all married to a digital marketing professor at one of the best business schools in the world?
No.
Oh, that's just me.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, well, not just you. There's one other in here too, but
Yeah.
I totally agree. And you gotta like, I say I pack my books, but I got 4 kids. I got 4 kids.
So do I. There you go. Martin,
He's like,
Say, why hire a
make those
workforce if you can
motherfuckers
create them? Plus, you can have fun doing it.
yeah. And look, Marcus says we use our direct market distributor to take advantage of their print network and greatly reduce the cost of printing books. There's positives if you're smart about how you approach it. We've combined Kickstarter, direct market, and Amazon Kindle into one lean process. So, Marcus, I guess we're all just going to be printing through you soon.
Well, Marcus is in my head now.
So yeah, I mean, but all right, but listen, before we go any further, we got to talk about some sorority sisters, and they have power. So, Dan, what are we looking at?
All right. The Sorority Power Volume 1 trade paperback and Kickstarter exclusive issue 16. I'm offering on this Kickstarter. So Volume 1 collects issues 1 through 5, along with their first appearance, which was an 8-page short in Argo Comics Anthology number 2. So that's a breakdown of the sorority members there that you just passed. And then this is, well, actually the top 3 are sorority sisters and the bottom 3 are pledges. So the sorority is the Super Gamma Mega sorority, and it's for the young superheroine in training, and it's a year-long pledging process where they have adventures where the 3 pledges are trying to fight crime and prove themselves to be worthy of being in the sorority of power. That's like that page is like Rush Week for anyone who's gone to a university and knows of such things. And then you go to a table and they might try to recruit you into their activity, and that's what's happening right there. Sorority Power is trying to recruit these 3 to pledge and join the sorority.
Cool. So, how many pages is the trade paperback?
Oh, let's see. I don't know. It's over 130.
Okay.
Don't know the page count offhand. But yeah, that's issue 2. So Bill Mouse is pretty much the series artist. And then I would have fill-in issues so that I can keep to a steady publishing schedule. So that issue 2 is by T.G. Fengeling. That was a different sorority right there. The anime manga Delta sorority, which has some like anime and manga archetypes from manga that I've enjoyed.
Yeah, that's funny.
Raphael Lanhellis drew issue 3. There you have like regular campus activities where people like playing Frisbee. This just happens to be some Universal Monsters teenagers playing Frisbee. And then, as many sororities might do, they're doing a car wash right here to raise funds. And Miss Molecule has powers over molecules, so she's cleaning the car that way. Leopard Lass and Mushka, who's a Russian exchange student, are helping to wash the car, and Mushka's kind of unwillingly doing so. And then we get to the next issue, Bill Mouse art, where they're fighting one of the. I have a couple different groups. They were in that first page with the Rush Week, where I have like the intergalactic intramural football team, or the mystic arts and witchcraft. So kind of like regular university activities, but a little askew in this, unusual universe. And there they were fighting one of the mystic arts and witchcraft club members. And we get into the next issue, which guest stars a Teen Machine. And again, it's more regular college activities like going to the mall. So they find themselves at the mall and that. And that is issue 16, brand new story drawn by Rob Banbury, who drew that kind of tribute cover. I call it the New Mutates cover, which is the obvious play on one of the New Mutants covers. And then we have our Face Talk, so we don't get sued by any social media companies. Face Talk variant where they're doing a little Face Talk dance. I have a level to be on a cover, and that's some preview pages now. Yeah, if you wanted your super character on the cover as a sorority sister, we have a level for that. And this is a preview of issue 16 where they are holding a meeting. Someone's at the door. It's Leopard Lass Leopard Lass is answering the door. Pink Puma from the Pink Puma Red Rooster book, which I'm offering as an add-on. And their crush sorority member seems infatuated with Pink Puma a little bit. There's that book that I was talking about. It's one of our previous releases, and we offer it so that you can get Pink Puma's other previous appearance. And then just because I'm asked for it a lot, we have the 2 trade paperbacks of Argo 5 Volume 1, collecting 0 through 5, and then Volume 2 collecting 6 through 12. No, 6 through 11.
All right, cool. Now, Dan, you've been doing this for a long time. How many individual issues have you published?
Well, Argo 5, I have issue 47 I'm lettering. And Sorority Power got up to 16 here. Mm-hmm. It's over 100, but I'm not sure. I should know the page count. I guess I'm not a numbers guy. Page count and number of books, but yeah, it's over 100. Because I have the Thunder Zone releases now that are not all mine, but are a good amount mine as well.
All right, cool. All right, well,
that's impressive, man.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
That's a lot of books. It's a lot of books. So you got 20 days ago. You're 3,200. You already made your goal, so you're good, man. Yeah. More power to you.
I appreciate it. I think we both saw a little uptick with a female lead book, but
listen, it doesn't hurt.
Yeah, it's not like I'm jumping on the bandwagon. I started that book 15 years ago, so
Yeah. Listen, I have jumped on the bandwagon.
Yeah, sure.
Oh wow, we got more backers.
What happened?
Awesome, we got more backers since before when I looked earlier.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're 135 backers. We're 4,300, so it's going in the right direction. So thank you, everybody. You guys are awesome.
Absolutely, thank you.
Got 62 hours left. See, you want to pitch it?
What do I? I don't really say. It's if Lovecraft wrote a supernatural episode where 2 people go in to find out what's going on with the old ones who were fish people from, of course, Innsmouth, and are being affected by an ancient evil, which is probably a vampire. This issue is a lot of fighting and a lot of discovery. So, yeah.
Yep. And this is the thing that C and I get up to when we're left alone. These are some of C's pages.
This is gorgeous.
Colored by Chompe
Gorgeous
Ramirez.
work.
Yep.
Yeah, nice.
Colored by Chompe Ramirez, did a great job. Thank you, Jay, for making the introduction. All right. And look, there's Chompe.
Yay!
All right. So listen, I mean, I think we're in the hours.
Got
So
got to
62
the
hours.
Wednesday morning.
Yep.
Right before. Yeah.
Yep. Wednesday morning. So if you want, go check it out. Go buy a book or two. Thank you. We all appreciate you.
Again,
Absolutely.
this podcast needs to be renamed "How to Empty Mark's Pocketbook."
Sorry, Mark. But
You're not sorry. It's okay.
listen, I think your book is being shipped out Monday. So there you go. From the last one. All right.
No problem at all.
So listen, guys. We've talked about some heavy stuff. Pretty dour, hour there, right? So listen, I'm gonna ask this question. What makes you happiest in comics, both as a creator and a consumer? All right. So Mark, let's go with you.
Okay, so I'm rather infamous for saying that nostalgia is the heroin for old people, and it is a draw that is hard to resist. So I try to resist it as little as much as possible.
I like as little. I like that part.
But my local, he knows me. He knows me, right? So he sends me a message about 3 weeks ago on a Wednesday morning. He's like, "You coming in today?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm coming in today." He goes, "Okay, I'll keep it behind the counter till you come in." I'm like, "Oh man." So lunchtime rolls around and I go over and he has an entire box of these digest comics. Right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Right. And like these came out 79, 80, 81, 82.
Nice.
It's on the newsprint.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, "You can have them for cover price."
Nice.
Wow.
And I was like, okay.
I think what are they, a buck and a quarter each, I think?
Yeah. 95 cents, $1.25.
Wow.
So I went through them all and I only bought ones that I had as a kid. Because I'm like, you went to my house and you got this Secret Origins of Superheroes from underneath my bed as a 10-year-old kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I love that that's available to me now, right? I love that stuff is available to me now. I bought in the last month, I bought almost every Tintin off him for $6 a book,
Nice.
which I was really pleased with. So like there is that nostalgia. Plus, I go to the independent rack at the comic book shop and I see new stuff every month with beautiful art on beautiful pages. And it's drawing me in. Like I still get my Batman comics, I still get my Daredevil comics, I still read those things. But where there is so much hope for me is that there are so many people doing interesting independent things that wouldn't have got published or may have not got published ever by the big two that are being published that I'm reading. And I'm excited by that. Plus, especially in my area of all ages and young adult books, the big publishers. I'm not talking about DC and Marvel. I'm talking about real publishers. Penguin, Random House are making some amazing books and putting them out that I am really enjoying. So, I think that if I've lost hope in anything, it's the big two. But I think that those books I hope they survive and they keep making books because they make great books and they have made great books. But what I love now as a consumer is I get it all. I get the old and I get the new, right? I get that style guide that I waited 40 years for. I get those pages, right? I could see those pages, the way they were presented. And that's so exciting to me. As far as a creator, I freaking love how easy it is now. The fact that we can all letter our comics digitally,
Mhm.
right? And, you know, if you take some time and some care and actually give a damn, it doesn't look like bad digital lettering. It looks like good lettering should,
Yep.
right? And you take your time and you learn your craft. And I love that, like, my artists give me all their Photoshop files. So I can be like, I take this layer and this image and this and cut that out, and I can make a sticker out of it with no problem at all. And like, digital tools have made it so cheap to make all that stuff, including, and I don't want to get into this again, but making all that auxiliary stuff, making Premiere Reels, making animations, the fact that I use OBS and record every one of my lettering sessions so that I can throw that up as a reel that goes for 30 seconds and people can see me moving the balloons around. People love that behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
For artists, absolutely do that sort of stuff. So I love that's available, and I love that I'm going to shows. Shows seem to be, last year's shows were a little off, and they seem to be getting better this year. So I would say like 23 they had a tough time, and 24 I had a better time at shows.
All right, cool. Mr. Sehn.
I'd say for both as a creator and a consumer, it's art that will give me the greatest joy. And as far as the creator is concerned, like just seeing new pages coming in, that's probably why there's been so many published books, is the fact that I probably am a little bit of an art junkie. So to, get these artists who I really love their work, and that's the only way I'm usually working with someone, is that I really, love their work, then to, have these new pages coming in really, it's great. Of course, also outstanding colorist. That's another step that gives you a little charge to see that page coming in. I mean, let's say with Sorority Power, for instance, Bill Mouse was already one of my favorite artists. So to be able to, gain a relationship with him and have him drawing that book, and I've had him at the table when I was doing New York Comic Con. So seeing all his commissions come to life as I sat there and trying to, gain a little insight into the process myself, being I do a little art, but nothing really at a great volume. But then as a consumer, there are great writers, but I'll say they're few and far between. So for the most part, most of the books are going to be art-based pickups for me. And the fact that then even if the story's kind of disappointing, I will at least have that Tom Rainey, Mike McGowan, Nick Bradshaw, whichever artist I love doing those books. And they're not always in the big two anymore. They're doing their own projects a lot of times, Terry Dodson, those type of artists. So just tracking down their work, getting that is something that I really enjoy. And there are a number of books that these artists are not going to be in my top 20, but the writing is there. And, the story's engaging. Let's say God Hates Astronauts was one I always enjoyed. That Love and Rockets was a book I always enjoyed. A number of books that are out there that I enjoy. And not that the art is bad, the art is very good, but they're just not like, my upper echelon artist. So art really, it is a visual medium, and I enjoy that aspect of it.
Cool. Mr. Lanning.
I'm going to take the same answer. It's almost the same answer. it's being able to see what's in everyone's head because they're able to get it out. Sometimes not being hindered necessarily by which could be good or bad, by editors or what they want you to put in there. So you get to read those things that are sometimes it's phenomenal, sometimes it's not, sometimes it needs some work, but that's okay. As long as you're able to get it out there. And that's the same thing for me, is to be able to create what I want to create and not have to think about. For me, I don't have to worry about how it sells because I do it myself. You guys who have to hire artists, I'm sorry. But the point is,
Motherfucker.
Stick the knife in, why don't you?
You know what I mean?
Turn it.
I get it. That's but yeah, it's just being able to create. And I think what Mark says it was best about that we're living in an age where you could just do the lettering and everything, but now that you're able to put it up, and even though somebody's going to see it, right? It might not be a huge following, it might not be thousands and thousands of people or thousands of people see it and they just keep moving, but regardless of that, they're going to have somebody out there that's going to read it regardless. So I think that's a great part of being as opposed to, hey, I'm going to get you to publish this book. Okay, we'll publish it, but you got to do all the marketing. You got to do all this to get people to see it. We're just going to put it on the shelves and leave it and hope. So.
All right, cool. Mr. Sam.
As far as being a creative and being an illustrator as well, the relationship I have with my characters, it's a personal relationship. I feel like I grew up with them. I feel like an extension of me, and it gives me an opportunity to escape, right, and just have fun. And then I just love art, and I love the creative field, and it doesn't matter what it is. I think everyone has the intention of putting their best foot forward, right? And everything's based on it's taste. So for me, I mean, I'll read, Dogman. I love Loud House, the cartoon. I love comic books. I love animation. I mean, I just love the art form, and that's another form of escape. So as long as people are creating, then there's so many possibilities. When the creative world stops and that voice shuts down, that's when you got to get scared. So as long as you're creating, I don't care what it is, keep doing you. Because I get inspired even from stick figures. I mean, there's so many times I'll see some, I'm like, whoa, I didn't even thought about that, right? And that's a pretty good twist to that. So you'll find some magic in everything out there. So I just love the art form.
That's cool. All right, cool. Jay.
As a creative, I love hitting conventions and getting firsthand reactions from the people who've read my books. The ones who found things that I didn't even know I was putting into it, right? And peeling back the layers. And I'm like, oh wow, that's a great avenue for me to why did Sam go dark all of a sudden? He just went black. He's like, I don't want to hear what the fuck Jay has to say. Shit. No. Whatchamacallit. But I love getting that firsthand reaction from people who read my books. It makes me feel like maybe, now he's back. See, I stopped talking to Sam.
You guilted him into it.
No, my dog was knocking on the door.
So getting that, it's just knowing that I've impacted somebody, or they paid attention to my work. It's just like, wow, you know what I mean? It does something to the emotional reservoir. As a consumer, I love going to the conventions again, because on Sunday, when everybody wants to get rid of shit that they don't want to carry, man, I can get stuff on the cheap. I'm sorry.
No, that's fair. Look, I've done it too. I've done it. I've been there. All right, for myself as a consumer, believe it or not, I'm one of those rare knuckleheads that goes through the previews page by page every month. I go out, I seek it, I get it. There you go. Beautiful thing. and then I place my order.
Yeah.
You know, on the day that it's made available, I place my order, and when I get that box, you know, once a month from DCBS, and I open it up, and like I said, it's like Christmas every month. I just open it up, and say, what am I pulling out? You know, and it's like, you know, it's crazy. You know, as I get it, I'm like, oh yes, yes, yes. You know, it's just a lot of that because it's a curated thing. I just
Hold on. You just said, "What am I pulling out?" Yes, yes, yes.
no, that's not bad, right?
I'm gonna clip
Come
that
on,
one.
man.
No, don't put that one. Jesus.
If I had known it was that kind of podcast, I would have.
But you know, but I mean, seriously though, I mean, it's getting this curated box every month and just pulling out these omnibuses and trade paperbacks and hardcovers and just great. You know, I got Birthright, I got a Hellblazer omnibus sitting upstairs. You know, I got all these different books. You know, and it's just great every month. The only problem is I'm like, I have the perpetual problem where it's like I need another bookcase. You know, so it's always that. It's like I need another bookcase. I'm like, damn it, I gotta get another bookcase. And then
Does the previews line up with DCBS though? I mean,
what do you mean?
like when you see something in previews, you have to kind of search through DCBS for it, right? They're not like in the same order. I just haven't gotten previews in a long time, so I'm just wondering how it.
No, yeah. Well, whatever is in previews, it will end up in DCBS.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I can wait for DCBS, but I like flipping through the catalog.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. It's just one of those things.
I mean, I haven't gotten previews in a long time since I wasn't filling out the previews order anymore. So I
Right.
just wait for it to come online on DCBS. But as I told you, they're missing a lot of covers these days.
Yeah. But and the other thing I enjoy getting is like, and everybody's mentioned it. You know, I like getting stuff like this from my artists, right?
Oh.
So this is a cover I just got today, right? And this is for a book that probably won't come out for another year, right? But you know, it's a lot of fun. You know, this is the stuff that I enjoy getting. You know, and the other thing I really enjoy getting as a creator is the trade paperbacks. I love trades. So you know, so there you go. So that's that. All right. Some future, like I said, I just find it funny. I just, you know, put a night on a chicken. It's just ridiculous. It's hilarious.
Night on a chicken.
Wait,
I don't even know what that means.
Huh?
What does that mean?
What are you talking about?
I'm like, Sam, what does that mean?
I don't
Put a
what
night
the
on
night.
the chicken. There's a night on the chicken.
She's this young lady right here.
Uh-huh.
It's a
She's
night.
a knight, like a
Oh,
knight.
okay. I was just like,
chicken.
all right, I get it. All right. You lost me for a
I don't
second.
know what Jay was thinking.
I don't know what you were thinking. This is some sick freak.
I'm like,
who knows where this was going?
he pulled it out of the box, went yes, and then put the knife on the chicken. What was it? A condom? What the
Jesus, another night on the chicken.
Exactly. And the thing is, it's a rooster. It's not like I said cock. Like,
Oh, geez.
So he put a knife on a cock. It's what you're saying.
exactly. It's not like I said that. Jesus. Anyway,
Oh,
so whoever's composed, please, question.
I still have to think the highlight of the night is Jay trying to read the room, trying to think about what age to say that we were all above. He's like 20, 30, 20,
I was going to say 45.
49.
Look at all
I was
these
going to
old
say
publishers.
45, but I'm like, let me push the envelope. Let me push it. Let's see. Oh, my God. Because fucking Sam is one of the fucking oldest ones here, and he looks like he's fucking 30. Fucking cocksucker.
Wait a minute, Sam's not 30?
No, man. Sam was like
Jesus.
55, 56.
I don't know what you're talking
Oh my
about.
God.
Fucking Sam.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Oh, my God.
Sam's going to hold on to his beauty for as long as he can.
That's right.
That's right.
Fucking look at all that black hair on his head. You know,
and I can still bench press 350, baby.
I could bend. I squat 350 every time I stand up.
Dude, I was shoveling snow the other day and fell, and I had to do a check of the hip before I got up.
Man,
Oh, yeah, that
Sucks.
Yeah.
yeah, shit.
Everything was okay, but wow, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Gentlemen, it has been fantastic as always. I got my to-do list now. Make animation show.
Oh, golly.
There you go. Between C and Marcus, you know.
Oh my God, you guys.
So Jay, do you have a question?
Yeah. This is an easy one. This is a toss-up one. Who do you still consider to be an indie publisher?
Okay. Dan?
Who do I consider? Well, I think it's almost more like who is not an indie publisher at this point. And of course, you have the big two. You have Dynamite. I mean, Image, people will say, is not an indie, but if you're just some guy bringing your book there and you're paying them your dues and then still doing the legwork to promote your book, I think you're still indie at that point. But I think maybe see Michael used this term before, and I've used it before, garage indie, which is more like I consider not to be in mainstream distribution. And the garage indies, I think, are the majority of the indies these days. But as far as by the definition, like I said, I would think that anyone without shareholders and kind of going through your own creative process and not having a lot of filters between you and the reader, that's probably indie.
Okay.
All right, cool. Mr. C.
Dreamweaver Press and let's see. Unstoppable Comics.
Oh, you're so kind.
Yeah, that would be indie. Well, the thing about indie, we've talked about that before too, is that definition now is kind of like, how do you really? Maybe it's a percentage. How much money do you get from it? Like how much of my proceeds do I get to keep?
What the hell is money?
Yeah, there you go. And that's a small indie creator for you. That's
when you're an artist, you see some money.
That's the question. If you say what is money, then we know that you're an indie creator. No, not necessarily. I mean, but as far as I would think, it's a grassroots thing now, right? I mean, you can't really say Dynamite, you can't say Dark Horse, you can't say Boom, you can't say, is IDW still around? Kind of, not really, right?
No, they're still around.
Yeah, I wouldn't put Image on that because again, like I said, if you go back to the standards, the hidden standards of Image, and don't be surprised if Larson shows up in the comments to freaking tear you down on this because he likes to do that kind of thing. But it's pretty obvious that they were looking for big names to come in from Marvel and DC, and I think that pretty much abolished the fact that it was an independent publication. So that for me, it would be what we're looking at. Going Kickstarter, Odyssey Comics. I could just so on and so forth. I think that's what we're looking at. Independent people who are still handling their own stuff. When you get into a publisher, it depends on the publisher. But even to those that becomes really small press, doesn't it? So it's not. And maybe you're small press, Jay. I'm not sure how to look at you right now. Yeah. But because you've got different people underneath you as well. So, but how do you consider yourself? You consider yourself indie or small press?
Or
is there a difference?
I don't see a difference between.
Okay, yeah. I think that word kind of gets where indie now. I'm not sure if it still holds the same thing that it did 30 years ago. So,
okay,
all right, that's fair. Mark, what are your thoughts?
Well, there's the kind of Machiavellian way to look at it that if you're on my bookshelf with Marvel and DC and not my other bookshelves, then you're not an independent. So all my Dark Horse and all that stuff is on that shelf with DC and Marvel. Not shelf, but book shelves. We all have a problem. We're all not going to talk about it. But it's almost for me it's like indie music of the 80s. And people don't talk about indie music now because you can go on YouTube and make a video in your backyard of a song that you like and put it on Bandcamp, and you're suddenly selling a bunch of downloads. Like it's not sales. It's not, to me, it's an attitude towards the work as a work of art rather than a work of commerce primarily. We all have to have both of those in our head. But like Dan said, it's getting pages from artists. There is few feelings better than that. And and that's why we do it. We're for the love of making comics. And so, somebody like First Second has a business model. They have marketing plans, they have marketing people, but they love comics there. They love the art form, they love what they're making, and they can go home at the end of the day. Like Fantagraphics is like that too.
Yeah.
That they love what they're doing and they love what they're making, and they're trying to run a business, but they're loving comics more than they're loving business. I can't believe I work at a business school. I just said that. I'm going to get fired tomorrow.
All right, that's fair though. Sam, what are your thoughts?
If you have a way to produce your content and get it direct to market on your own, without the help of VCs or anything like that, I consider that independent. The other guys are just mainstream independent, right? So they're just broken away from the big two, but they're mainstream. And so I think if you're the little guy, you're doing it under your terms, but you still have a way to produce consistently and get it into the market. That's what I consider indie.
All right, cool. Now the question's a little weird for me. I mean, obviously, we're all independent publishers here, I feel. If you're publishing, right? But I mean, when I look at something like the previews, right? I think the only people that are left is like Dave Sim, Jeff Smith, if you even really want to call that guy Indy, because he's all over the place and he's making huge numbers. Terry Moore, Jim Ballant. I mean, I don't even. Who?
Ben Dunn.
Well, that's Antarctic Prep, but he's actually a publisher. Right. So which publishers are left that are really picking up independent comics? Antarctic Press would be one of them. Caliber might be another one.
Yeah.
Those are probably the only two that are left. Right. Like, because, we can't really include like Dark Horse and Boom and IDW in that category. I think the only real small press guy / indie is Antarctic Press and Caliber. I think Scout might have been there, but as C said, they're on the shits outs, right? So, and I mean, I think there's still Volt, but I don't know what their deal is, right? At one point I would have said maybe Mad Cave, but then after reading their terms of agreement on their website, I was like, nah.
Really?
I would, yeah, you got to go read that contract soup.
And they are
they're based out of Miami.
They're a subsidiary of another company. I forgot which one.
Yeah.
What about Oni? Is Oni the one Kevin Smith?
Oni and Larry Forge bonded years ago.
Yeah, they're owned by a billionaire, bro.
Okay.
Yeah, or by the children of a billionaire.
Yeah. I was never really on it, so I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, look, they produce great books. Don't get me. I love their books, and
I
buy
always feel like if you have a licensed book, like say G.I. Joe, I think Oni had Invader Zim. So
Yeah.
when you have a licensed book, that to me that nullifies you as being independent right out the box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think the only two publishers are Caliber and Antarctic Press. I don't, like I said, I can't even think of another one, and I try to stay on top of those.
Is
Right.
is Aftershock over with? That's not that they went bankrupt and that was it, huh?
Yeah, they're gone.
Yeah.
Are they? I thought they were still in. I don't know.
Are they
I
still
confuse them with AWA.
Oh yeah, AWA Upshot. That's right.
Yeah.
Aftershock Upshot.
Upshot. Yeah, I confuse a lot of those companies. But Jay, and then AC Comics. There you go.
Yeah.
Those guys are independent for sure. Jay, what are your thoughts?
Well, I don't think Sam is independent. You see that boom mic that he's got fucking over there? Come on, that's big fucking dough right there. He's got a professional setup. Talk about VC money. Come on. What the fuck, bro? Look at that. He's got original Beatles albums hanging in first pressings behind him. He's got fucking dough over there. There's no fucking money coming out of Sam. Best.
I wish.
Some of us have podcasts that we got to put out, and it's got to be good audio. Man.
There you go. There you go.
Not all of us can do it through our iPhone.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. No, I wanna stick with what Dan and T were talking about. The garage guys, right? Those of us who are bootstrapping it, using our own money, putting our money where our mouth is, right? We're not doing this with rich uncles. We don't have VC money. We don't have major sponsors behind us. We're out there grinding it the fuck out. We're doing it as much as we hate saying it. We're doing it because we love it. Because we're not rich people over here, and we've taken on the chin a lot, and we keep coming back, and we keep making more stuff because we love doing it. I think that's indie. That's indie. Once you're able to buy the DC license to make your own toys of Batman and stuff, you're not indie anymore.
No, that's the kind of ends that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, are you trying to say Todd McFarlane's not an independent publisher? Kind of like George Lucas not being independent filmmaker.
What?
Yeah.
Well, who'd ever thought?
Yeah. And remember, he bankrupted the company, when he first started. So.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, American Zoetrope. He bankrupted them.
Yep. Well, hey, good for him.
Break a few eggs, right? I mean,
all right. Yeah, you got anything else? That's it. You done?
No, that's it, man. You
All
know
right,
what I mean?
sounds good. All right, gentlemen, we made it to the hour 2. It was a great show. Thank you, guys. You guys are awesome. Mark, please let us know where they can find you and your work.
My work is available at Plague Doctor Press, and I am on every knowable social network: X, Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all those good things. You can find my books. I'm doing a show in Indy in March, and then hopefully a show I'm really excited about in June, the Toronto Comic and Arts Festival, which will be held at Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto, right downtown.
All right, cool. Dan, where can they find you and your work, sir?
Yeah, Argo Comics on most social medias. Just one word, put that in, or at Argo Comics. You'll find me. Facebook, I do also have Dan Sehn, so you can look up that. Of course, the Kickstarter right now, I think if you look up Sorority, that'll be the first hit. And Indy Planet, I have most of my back issues. So if you look up Argo Comics, Indy Planet, Indy being with a Y, not the IE, that'll take you to all my past Argo Comics books.
Nice.
Cool. Mr. Lanning.
As always, you can check me out on lanningart.com. That's LANNING art.com. I link you to all my Facebook, Instagram, and I guess I could try Blue Sky. I've tried it, who knows, whatever. It's just something else. Just go check out lanningart.com.
Sehn?
Head over to dutiesworld.com. Has everything you need to learn about what I do. Check out Cast the Craze podcast every Tuesday nights, except for this coming Tuesday because I'm traveling. And check me out. I'll be in Texoma next month. Georgia Dreamer Medina's flying in from the East Coast. We're going to be at Texoma Comic Con. It's our second time being there. It's a really fun show. And then on Free Comic Book Day, Herman has his own story, and it's being distributed to all of most of the comic stores in Texas. And I'll be doing a book signing there, and it's published by Make Comics Fun. And so Herman has an 8-page short story, and I'll be doing a book signing, and there's some incentives for anybody who picks it up. Check it out. Follow me on Art of Samuel on YouTube as well, and you'll learn all about it.
All right, very nice. Jay?
UnstoppableComics.com. You'll find all of my info, social media links, books, and other stuff there. We've got Shield the Interceptor coming back, the comic on Kickstarter, hopefully next month. We have the figures coming back in June. We're going to give it another shot. At the beginning of June, we're going to launch the action figures again. And that also ties into my appearance at Joe Fest in Augusta, Georgia, June 20th, 21st, 22nd. So if you're interested, come to Joe Fest in Augusta, Georgia. You'll be able to see the actual hand-painted prototypes in person. And I will bring some 3D printed blanks so you can play around with the articulation, see what those look like. I will also be in New York Comic Con in October, and the Industry City Comic Con here in Brooklyn on April 25th and 26th.
Nice.
Very nice. All right, cool. And I am JD Calderon, your host. You can find me here most Sunday nights with Mr. J and some other fine creators. And Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all these different places. You can look me up. Right now, currently on Kickstarter with Magi's Grace #2, so go check that out. The other thing is, please go check out the links. Go check out the show notes. All of these creators have links in there to their creations. So please check them out. Click on those links. Buy those books. Because remember, all these creators, they all do hard. I mean, the love and care all of these creators do for their work, they deserve your support. So go check them out. And just remember, buy more indie comics, especially ours. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you.
Good night.
Night.